Imagine yourself in the position of director to the Turkey of the 80s. Your task is to deliver a Turkish version of Star Wars because the Turkey of the time is very isolated and Western films are very difficult to find. The budget is almost non-existent, but hey, we can have an illegally obtained copy of the original Star Wars. We'll use footage from that. And what comes to the soundtrack? We can steal it from many movies such as Raiders of the Lost Ark, Moonraker, Ben-Hur, Flash Gordon, Planet of the Apes, and many more. Yes, if I were in this position, I would commit a suicide. Don't worry! The great thing is that in that position was no me but Setini nuns, who achieved to create a very interesting motion picture. Nowadays Turkish Star Wars has quite a large cult following, and soon you'll know why. At first, let's take a look at its name. Dünyayi, kurtaran, whatever. It's the Turkish name. In English, the man who saves the world. Can you imagine a name that's more awesome? I can't. Okay, that could be even better.
Enough beer for the day.
No. Anyways, the man who saves the world is movie famous for stealing footage from the original Star Wars, and its plot has some similarities with the original as well. That's the reason why it's best known as Turkish Star Wars in the Western world. But don't get me wrong, it's still not a carbon copy of the original Star Wars. It does take place somewhere in space, but still, it really has something on its own. Trust me. I think the beginning of the movie is the biggest challenge when preventing boredom. It contains some kind of a brief background story, but hey! When Foley Vision arranged the first known translation, the translator told them it doesn't make any more sense in Turkish. So, now you're relieved from the hard task of understanding and you can even turn the subtitles off. Dialogue isn't the thing that made this movie famous, so you won't really miss too much.
Something's happening!
What? Robbie the Robot? What a marvelous idea to copy a character from Forbidden Planet, an American movie from the 50s, and turn it to a villain. That should make the Turkish audience understand how evil Western false gods really are. And of course he needs evil minions to work as cannon fodder. Lame versions of Silent will do that perfectly. Other minions are usually teddy bearish monsters with various colors and, of course, some bunch of guys in toilet paper that are supposed to look like mummies of some sort, but rather look like retards who were released from a local asylum due to a lack of funding. How about the ultimate bad guy, the worst of the worst, the most evil of all? Well, for some reason they didn't put a Western star here, but rather a relative of Saddam, with the worst cardboard helmet ever made for a film. Apart from sucking the blood of his victims from distance, he's boring and not even seen in the movie too many times. Well, except the last fight, of course. At this point, you might have noticed the strange logic the movie follows. All of you who absolutely love anything weird and nonsensical should love the movie already. Then comes another, very important thing that movie has to offer. Action. It's fast-paced and over the top. You'll even see how enemies' heads are ripped off with bare hands. And when talking about the hands of the enemies, sometimes they're shoved into their mouths to shut them up. Some other scenes hint that this was also aimed at a pretty young audience. But these violent fights makes you wonder if it is, or is just cultural thing, so they can show this kind of action to kiddies too, in Turkey. Oh hey, I forgot they're good guys. The man who's going to save the world can do whatever he wants, as long as he's beating up all the bad guys. Kill them! Kill them all! Oh, where was I? Yes, here it comes. One of the most ridiculous training montages I've ever seen. Just look at these guys, how tough they are! They would eat Chuck Norris alive! Honestly, would you fuck with this guy? That's not what I meant. The creators are so untalented, which also makes it a really good movie, of course, in the camp sense. I recommend to download this movie because, yeah, it should be illegal to buy anything like this. And it should be illegal especially to give anything to the creators of this movie because they simply suck. Things may be black and white on Star Wars, but on Trust Hour I look at things on a wider spectrum. This is indeed an absolute rape of Star Wars, but because it was made in Turkey it doesn't have too much to do with the original. It takes some of its elements, but twists them to something completely new and unbelievable. As sad as it may be, the worst rape of Star Wars wasn't made by the Turks, Indians or Japanese, but the Americans themselves. The Star Wars Holiday Special even had most of the original actors, which actually made the movie become far worse sacrilege than Turkish Star Wars could ever be.
Yes, I think I understand her message.
That leads us to the next thing, my rating. Turkish Star Wars is absolutely stunning rubbish that disgustingly reminds me about my shame of mankind and disrespect towards it. But as much as I hate to admit it, it also makes me proud of the fact that I belong to the sickest and the most annoying species of the universe. This perverse mix of shame, guilt and pride creates dirty vibes of energy to feed my soul and makes me feel more powerful than ever. And that's fun!